Hello everyone, I am Ham and you watch. Welcome to Ham and Watch, and today I am reviewing Myst. So reviewing Myst is gonna be a tough one because it's a bit of a classic in the video game history. Myst has been around for like dozens of years. There's so many editions, so many versions of it. The one I'm reviewing today is the one that you can find on Steam. The latest one on Steam, it's Myst 2021. So Myst came out in 1993 and it used to be a game, a puzzle game of exploration, single player of course, that used to be in screens. You have a screen, you click in a direction, you go to another screen, and it's screen after screen like that, like paintings of sort. Nowadays, the version that I'm going to review right now is a free roaming version, which means basically it's an FPS where you walk around with the typical FPS controls, and you don't function by screen anymore. You just go around exploring things. Nowadays, we would call that a walking simulator, sadly, which is an awful name. But keep that in mind. It's mostly a puzzle games where you just free roam and solve puzzles. Disclaimer before we start: Myst being a huge puzzle-based game where you solve puzzles, you need to understand everything. You need to understand the lore, all the puzzles, the enigmas and such. If you want to get into this blind, don't look at this review right now. Just skip it. Just go into the game, or just put the sound on and you can hide the video, because I will not care about the spoilers. It's already an old game. You should do it, and you should totally do it without my review. It's an excellent game. It's a classic. So if you care about the spoilers, stop watching now. So reviewing Myst is very hard for me for many reasons. First, because I'm reviewing this version that is the latest, but in my head I've got most of the versions that came out for the last dozens of years. It's been in different versions, so you have to take that into account. There's a whole historical aspect to it, so it's very hard to close my mind to everything that has happened. Also, Myst is in my top 3 video games of all times. Not necessarily the first one, mind you, but Myst as a whole, because Myst is a very big series of games that I've always loved. So it's very hard to review this. But basically, Myst is a classic video game since the 90s, a big series of puzzle games. Some would call it casual, although there are very complicated puzzles in Myst, but some call it casual because it's mostly walking, reading stuff, listening to stuff, and solving some puzzles. So in terms of skill and gameplay, it's not crazy, and it's very old-fashioned in a way. You have to remember that we're in early 90s and it hasn't really changed since then. The recipe of Myst, of these roaming around and solving puzzles, this recipe has not really changed since then. So if you're looking for very innovative gameplay and such, you won't find it here. Myst is a very old-fashioned classic puzzle game, and it's one of the best, if not the best, because it's historically extremely important. So first, let's talk about the video aspect of Myst. What you have to understand here is that I'm showing my stream, so it's lesser quality. If you go check on Steam or wherever, Myst is really good looking. I don't know if we can call it a AAA looking quality, but the latest version that you have here is very, very good. You can see me admiring all the details because I know all the previous versions, and comparing to what they've done in this one is just a blast, to know how they adapted to the modern graphics and such. So Myst is visually very good looking. You are wandering into this world, into this whimsical, weird world in some kind of fantasy that you have no clue about, and it's supposed to make you wonder, to put you in awe in all that is surrounding you. So visually, it's very pretty. Myst was also known video-wise for one of its important features that they have sadly abandoned recently, It's the FMV. So if you know some games from the 90s, some adventure games or puzzle games, point and click games and such, would hire comedians or actors to be in front of the camera, film them, the actual people, and incorporate them like with a green screen in this fantasy video game world. Lots of people hated that, and some people loved it. I come from an era where I played Myst, I played Phantasmagoria, I've played all those games where you would integrate real comedians into these worlds, and for me it was a blast. I love that. I thought it was so weird. Even when it came out, actually, it was weird, weird looking and a bit odd, you know? And I still think that. And it's no wonder that nowadays most people don't use that anymore. We just, you know, model the whole people like in actual actors from cinema, like in Death Stranding and such. You will have the actual features of the people, but made into a video game character, which doesn't take you out of the world. Some people would consider here that when you see an FMV game and you see a real life person into a video game, it kind of breaks the immersion. Some people, and it's an argument that actually stands. I still love it. So if you play Myst with real life actors from back in the day, it has an incredible charm to it. And so video wise, I reckon it even gains more quality. Nowadays they made some 3D rendered characters, so it's less that, but also I guess it has more unity to it. It's just not very well done. The most important thing about Myst, in any case, video-wise, is the amazing looking thing. You can see I'm looking here at the painting because it looks like paintbrush. It's this world. Look at that, all these. It's so whimsical and oniric, and you're like, where am I? It looks like a dream. What is this place? And it's true for Myst 1, but it's even truer the more you progress into the series with Myst 2, 3, 4, etc. So video-wise, that's a 9 out of 10. It's remarkable. Audio-wise, Myst is very interesting. It's hard for me to judge it very objectively, because if I was to judge it objectively, I would say lots of the songs of the tracks that are in Myst are not necessarily remarkable. It was made back in the early 90s by one of the two brothers, and it was very atmosphere-based ambient music with just, you know, some kind of odd objects making sounds and all to create some kind of atmosphere around you. And so it's not real like musical tracks that you could remember and sing along or hum or whatever with an actual theme. There are a few tracks like that, but most of the time it's really ambient music. If you are not into ambient music, this might just be a low 6-7 out of 10 for you. Nothing bad, but nothing great either. You wouldn't pay attention to the music. If you care about ambient music, atmospheric and such, it's really pretty. It happened to me still nowadays to listen to a Myst, the whole series soundtrack to relax when I'm in bed or whatnot. I think it's still very, very impressively done because it's unique. It has a great atmosphere, not only for its visuals, but also for its audio. The music, the voiceover, because the voice lines were actually delivered by the comedians back in the day, right? By the actors. The voiceover is great. All the sound effects. Each time you are going to pull a lever, press a switch, go into a cart, and it's going to move a door that creaks. Every little sound has been recorded very carefully back in the day. I don't know if they updated them, but for me they still sound as amazing. All these little objects, these little tools that you manipulate, contribute to making you feel in that world. And that's essential in a puzzle game, especially in FPS view like that, where you are supposed to be here. Here you can see the thing going up, and you would hear the creaking, the wood and everything, the birds in the tree, everything. Everything has to make you feel like you are there. So to sum it up, audio-wise, I think Myst 1, the whole series of Myst, but Myst 1, 2 is really good. That's definitely a 9 out of 10. Now, gameplay-wise, Myst is known for the idea of books, okay? You have books, you press your hand on it, and you teleport somewhere. Sounds like a very basic concept, but back in the day it was very cool, and the whole lore and content, we'll see later, of Myst is based on that. By doing that, you wander through various very fantasy, weird worlds, and you solve puzzles. How? You've got no inventory, you don't have any jumping and shooting or whatever based mechanisms. This is a puzzle game with narration. You take books, you read books, you learn about the story, you hear people talk to you, and you have one mouse to click on things, activate them, turn on, turn off. It's not doing anything, you don't understand, you go somewhere else, or you understand that this switch activates this, what does it do? It's all about understanding the world around you. It goes much more complex the more you progress into the series of Myst, with 2, 3, 4, etc. In Myst 1, it's still quite simple. Lots of the puzzles will seem rather easy for a normal gamer, I reckon. Whereas if you go on into the series, if you progress further, you'll see that some puzzles are very complex. But in Myst 1, everything seems very classic, very old school. You have to understand that back in '93, when it came out, the concept of escape room, that we have nowadays, which is very common, didn't exist. And Myst is one of these precursors of that, of the idea of you're on this island and you have to escape, sort of, right? And by doing this, you just press switches and do stuff and try to understand the puzzles. This is what the gameplay is about. If you're not into that, trying to understand, you take a paper and you make some notes, okay, what does that do? You need to understand that. If you're not into that, you're not gonna like the gameplay at all, because that's all there is. If you like that, if you like, sitting with a cup of tea and trying to understand the puzzle, making some notes, some memo, trying to read books, understand what's happening, this is what this is about. Myst is all about solving puzzles. Myst 1 is pretty easy. Myst 1 was putting all the bases to Myst, the series. It was supposed to make you understand stuff. It was here to do something new in terms of video games. Puzzle games were not that major back in the day, and so all of it will seem a bit old school, a bit almost casual, but it's still very pleasant to discover, I reckon, even nowadays. And finally, level design wise, I reckon it's definitely a bit old-fashioned. It's a bit almost outdated. Myst 1 was rather small in scope. You've got the main hub and a few levels you keep doing back and forth to understand. You need to solve all the puzzles around to solve the main hub. It's quite basic, it's quite outdated, but it still works very well. And I reckon if you go into this with the idea of, I want to know what historically Myst means, I want to know where the puzzle game come from in the 90s and such, this is an excellent example of very, not convoluted, but very, complex, sometimes a bit cryptic puzzles with a level design that serves this purpose of solving puzzles. If you like roaming around and like, why is this corridor like that? Oh, maybe there's a sense in terms of lore, but also in terms of puzzle. Well, this is the case in Myst, and especially in the whole series afterwards. So if I have to judge the gameplay of Myst 1, purely Myst 1, it's still an 8 out of 10, because I think it does amazing stuff puzzle-wise, but the gameplay might sound basic for many. It could be a 6 or 7 for some. I'm not very objective, so I'll just say 8 out of 10 for the gameplay. Now, content-wise, Myst has one of the best content I've ever seen in a video game. It is, once again, very hard for me to judge purely on this one, Myst 1, especially the remake of Myst 1 that you are seeing here, because I've played all of the Myst games, I've read the books of Myst. The content, the lore of Myst is entirely in me as of now, for dozens of years, so it's extremely hard to judge just this one. If I was to judge Myst 1 content, it might not be very high, okay? It might probably be like a 7 out of 10. it's good, it's pleasant, it's nice, it's a nice idea. There are many things that are a bit too quirky, a bit like rolling your eyes, like a bit cringy almost, because it's in the early 90s. So you have to take into account that this is basically the introduction to the whole series of Myst. If you were to take just this game and imagine that nothing came out afterwards, yeah, that would be a 7 out of 10, the content. But think that this is like a portal to a huge lore. Myst has one of the best story, dialogues, world, lore that you've seen in any video game series. It is not crazy fantasy like I don't know, like Japanese RPGs and such. You will not see crazy creatures. It's still extremely realistic because it's with human people, you know, from Earth. There's a charm of almost an old-fashioned charm to it. If you've read books such as I don't know, Jules Verne and such, books that if you've seen movies or if you read books that have this kind of old charm of you know, like the 19th century and such, Myst is more on that side. It's not sci-fi, it's not fantasy per se, even if it is. It is extremely weird, extremely odd. There's a charm to it, and it will seem like nothing you've ever seen. I think nowadays there's so much more games and books and movies and series and what have you, so it might seem almost a bit tacky, a bit old school, a bit old-fashioned for sure, but I still think they managed to do something so unique back in the day and kept on keeping to what they were doing without caring about the rest, that it's just so unique. The content, the lore of Myst works so well. It is so immersive, and you'll feel like you're in one world and no other. To this day, I still think that Myst has one of the best concepts that's ever been invented. I would dream of, to give you an idea, I would dream of having a park, an attraction park, such as, you know, Disneyland and such, but based on Myst. It's that, you know, for some people it might be a Star Wars park, for some people it might be a Harry Potter park. I would love a Myst park based on the lore, on the environment that you can find in this series. So content-wise, that's a 10 out of 10 for me, which is pretty rare. I just think it's amazing what they invented. You have to accept all the compromises that you need to do to get into the lore and do the story, but once you do, it's just a blast. It's fantastic. And finally, in other, I don't have anything specific to say in terms of other for Myst. Usually I talk about the length. The length of Myst is rather short. If you understand the puzzles very quickly, you could finish this game in a couple of sittings. It's not that long. If you want to go blind into it and you have not necessarily much experience in with puzzle games, if you want to find everything in it, understand, read the books, understand the lore and what the hell is going on, you will definitely take, I don't know, 10-20 hours for sure. So it's still enough, right? And also I would say, this being an introduction to Myst, this could be for you the portal, the chance to hop onto this big series that is Myst. If you've never played a Myst in your life, you love puzzle and very weird worlds and to sit, relax and try to understand stuff, this will be an amazing introduction to it. And sometimes in other, I talk about the replayability. Obviously, the idea with puzzle games is that once you solve them, the replayability is a bit, you know, ruined. But it's not so much important in Myst because the replayability is about enjoying the world, you know, enjoying the world, enjoying what happened, wandering into these crazy, dream-like sceneries and fiddle with things and think, damn, everything makes a lot of sense. Everything is very, very weird and pleasant. So replayability might be ruined for you if you care about that. If not, it's not a problem, I reckon, in puzzle games. So finally, I have to give a rating to Myst. This is going to be very high, and yet big Myst fans will probably think I'm giving it a lower rating than I should. The reason is I still think that Myst 1 is probably one of its weakest elements. Not that it's the worst, okay? I think Myst 1 is one of the best in the series, but it's still a weak one in terms of what it has to offer in the whole series, right? I think that the games such as Myst 2, Riven 3, 4, Uru and such are doing a better job at providing something very representative of the whole series, of something big, because Myst is big in what it can evocate in your head and in your heart. And Myst 1 is not necessarily doing a great job at that. It's still very, very abstract, very quirky, a bit odd, you know. Everything is, when you think about it, it's not really realistic. It's a bit hard to believe because it was the beginning, you know. It was still a bit clumsy, let's say. So I'm not going to give it 100% or whatever, but I'm not going to give it either an 80. So I think I'm going to give Myst 1 a 92%. 92%, it could be either A or an A+, and I think I'm going to give it an A+, just because how historical, how important, historically speaking, Myst is in the video game scenery. Myst 1 is a 92%, an amazing game. You have to play this game, I think, even if you don't care much about puzzle game and such, just to understand what this whole Myst thing is about. After playing this game for like half an hour, you will quickly know if this is for you or not. But you will also understand why in early 90s this was such a huge hit, such an important stepping stone in the gaming world, something that could be done differently than just killing or shooting or platforming or whatever something done very differently. So Myst 1, it's a 92% A+, amazing game. You have to play this game. You definitely have to play it. At least you should try. Bye bye.